Sup guys, it's Alex here, and today we have the January 11th edition of Joe Lunardi's Bracketology. It was just released, and man, there are some big changes after this past Saturday and this past week where there were so many different upsets in college basketball. There were even some yesterday, and man, it's just been absolutely crazy. There's been a lot of changes to the bracket, as you can see, with teams moving up and down. New teams to the bracket, especially over here, there's a lot of down teams. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of good games this weekend. Some of the big surprises to me were Virginia and West Virginia moving up to the 1 seed. I agree with those. It's time for them to finally move up. Arizona State fell to a 3 seed. Louisville moved up to a 10 after beating Florida State. Kentucky stayed out of 4. Xavier fell down to a 3 seed after losing to Providence and Villanova. They just got destroyed by Villanova last night. North Carolina remained a 3 seed after losing their last 2 games. I don't understand that, but I'll be going to the Nashville sites whenever the NCAA tournament happens, so hopefully we get to see some good games there. I'll be vlogging that entire experience. Hopefully Kentucky gets to go. I'm a Kentucky fan. But if you don't see your team right there, I forgot to mention Ohio State is in after beating Michigan State. If you don't see your team in right now, this is the bubble. Last 4 in were Georgia, Baylor, Boise State, and Houston. First 4 out are Alabama, St. Bonaventure, SMU, Middle Tennessee. And then the next 4 out are USC, Providence, Minnesota, and Utah. USC and Minnesota were some of the top teams in the preseason rankings, but man, their seasons have been going down the drain. But as always, as you guys know, if you've been following me along, I make a bracket out of this Bracketology so you guys can vote and do your own thing with it. I always put that link in the description for you guys to vote. If you're new, go ahead and click that subscribe button with the post notifications on, so that way when I upload a video, you'll be able to know right here, and whenever the tournament rolls around, I'll be your one-stop shop for tournament information. So let's go ahead and get into my predictions. I think that Villanova would beat the winner of Morgan State and Southeast Louisiana. I think Ohio State would beat Rhode Island. Then Auburn would beat Western Carolina. Texas Tech would beat Vermont once that decides to load. Creighton and Baylor, or the winner of Georgia and Baylor. I really want to pick Creighton, but I just can't get behind them. I'm gonna have to go with the winner of the first 4 game between Georgia and Baylor. Hopefully it's Georgia. I feel bad for them after losing that championship game to Alabama. North Carolina will beat Iona. I think Syracuse, as of right now, would beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M has just been falling off the map recently. Wichita State would beat Drake. Obviously, Michigan State will beat the winner of Oral Roberts and Jackson State. Then I think Texas will beat Nevada. I feel so bad for that Andrew Jones guy from Texas being diagnosed with leukemia. They were able to rally around him and upset TCU last night. Seton Hall will beat Louisiana Lafayette. Clemson will beat Murray State. Then, Missouri and Gonzaga. I'm going to have to go with Gonzaga there. Missouri, they've been hanging up there. If Michael Porter Jr. comes back, I think they'll win, but I'm going to go with Gonzaga for now. Arizona State will beat Bucknell. Then I think Marquette will beat Notre Dame. Oklahoma will beat Montana with Trae Young. West Virginia will beat Cal State Fullerton. Butler will beat Florida State. Tennessee will beat Buffalo. And then once that decides to load, there we go. Cincinnati will beat William Mary. That was the matchup there that I just skipped. TCU and UCLA. If Lonzo Ball was playing for UCLA, I'd pick them, but I'm going to go with TCU there, even though UCLA had beaten Kentucky earlier in the season. Then Xavier will beat Northern Kentucky. I guess I just voted for Xavier too. I don't know what's going up with the computer. Florida will beat Maryland. Then Duke will beat Pennsylvania. Virginia will beat Robert Morris. Michigan will beat St. Mary's. Arizona will beat New Mexico State, though that could be a good upset game. Kentucky will beat Furman. Miami, Florida will beat Boise State and Houston. Kansas will beat Lipscomb. I think Louisville will upset Arkansas there. And then Purdue will beat Radford. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, Villanova and Ohio State. Going to go with Villanova moving on there. Auburn and Texas Tech. Texas Tech just beat Kansas. Auburn just beat Florida, and I think they beat Tennessee at Tennessee. I don't know if they beat Florida yet or not. Don't quote me on that. But I'm going to go with Auburn winning there. They're 14 and 15-1 with Bruce Pearl. I think they'll pull off the win against Texas Tech there. And then North Carolina will beat the winner of Georgia and Baylor. Wichita State will beat Syracuse. Michigan State will beat Texas. Seton Hall and Clemson, going to go with Clemson moving on there. And then Gonzaga and Arizona State. Arizona State. Oklahoma beating Marquette. West Virginia beating Butler. Then I like Tennessee beating Cincinnati there. And then TCU, I like them over Xavier. I've never been a big fan of Xavier. They've been like 7 out of their last 8 games have been decided by less than 10 points. They only beat East Tennessee State by 2. They're finally starting to turn into the team that I feel they are. They lost to Providence and then got blown out by Villanova. Have no confidence in Xavier whatsoever. Haven't all season. Hopefully I'll be proven right by that. Florida and Duke, a rematch of earlier in the season. Going to go with the winner of that one. Moving on again with Duke. Virginia and Michigan. I'm going to go with Virginia. That'd be a good defensive battle. This could be the game of the round, I guess you could say. Arizona and Kentucky. I'm going to go with Kentucky. I think Sean Miller, the coach of Arizona, said that he lost control of his team. They don't know what they're doing. I think Kentucky's going to move on there. They'll figure out who they are as a team by the time the tournament rolls around. Kansas will beat Miami, Florida. Then I think this is a rematch of the regular season too, Purdue and Louisville. I think that Purdue is going to move on there. They won that first game earlier in the season. Then for a spot in the Elite Eight, Villanova versus Auburn. I'm going to go with Villanova. North Carolina and Wichita State. I think that most people would pick North Carolina moving on there, but I'm going to go with Wichita State. Michigan State and Clemson. This could be a popular upset pick with Clemson, but I'm going to go with Michigan State. And Oklahoma and Arizona State, going to go with Oklahoma moving on there with Trae Young. West Virginia and Tennessee, going to go with West Virginia. And then Duke and TCU, going to go with Duke. Virginia and Kentucky. Man, I really want to pick Kentucky. I'm a huge fan of them, but I'm going to go with Virginia moving on there. And then Kansas will beat Purdue. Then for a spot in the Final Four, I'm going to go with an upset here. Once Wichita State gets Marcus McDuffie back, I think that's his name, I think they'll be able to pull off the upset here against Villanova. Then Oklahoma and Michigan State. Michigan State has not been showing up recently. They just went to overtime at home against Rutgers of all teams. And so I'm going to go with Oklahoma moving on there. So two seeds in the Final Four. Then I think West Virginia, they've been a more complete team. They know how to play defense. Duke does not. So I'm going to go with West Virginia there. And then Virginia and Kansas, I'm going to go with Virginia. So then, first spot in the national championship game, Wichita State, Oklahoma. I'm going to go with Oklahoma. Actually, no, I'm going to go with Wichita State. I think Oklahoma's a one-man team with Trae Young. He can only lead them so far. I think Wichita State shuts down Trae Young here, and they move on to the national championship game. Then West Virginia and Virginia. Man, this will be a good game. It'll be a good defensive battle. We got Javon Carter with West Virginia, and then the whole Virginia team as a defense. Man, I really don't know who to pick here, but just because I don't know who to pick, I'm going to go with the team that won this regular season matchup and go with West Virginia moving on. And then for the national championship game, we have Wichita State, West Virginia. Who would have known I would have been saying this at the beginning of the season? I'm going to go with West Virginia moving on and winning the national championship. I would have never thought I'd be picking them at the beginning of the season, but here we are. I think they're the best team in the nation right now. They're number 2 in the polls, and I guess we'll see what happens this weekend, and I will let you guys know in the next Bracketology update video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more content. Click that link in the description to vote on the bracket, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.